Hey everybody, this is Rudy Sarzo with my podcast, The Dash, and today we have Kristen Kivo as my
Hey!
guest.
Hey, everyone.
Hi Kristen, how you doing?
Good, how are you?
You know, one of the reasons why I picked you as one of my first episodes is because I find it so interesting. We have a lot in common. The fact that you have come to Los Angeles to make it in the music industry, and you've done it on your own. You know, and it seems to me, just like I did, you're making a lot of sacrifices, and you have a plan, you have a vision of yourself. And this is what we want to talk about today.
Okay.
Well, I want to know about your beginnings,
Right.
what got you here, how did you get here,
Right.
your aspirations, and what plans do you have? What goals, immediate goals, what your strategy is.
Yeah.
And if you can share that, because I think you're doing really, really well.
Thank you.
Especially on Twitter. This is how we met, on
Yeah,
Twitter.
on Twitter.
And I came to Los Angeles in the 70s, and it's a completely different landscape, business-wise in Los
Right.
Angeles. It's a whole different place. It's more crowded now.
Yeah.
I don't think I would have I would have come here.
Right.
I don't think I would have. Today, I
Okay.
want to see what inspire you to come to Los Angeles today.
Okay.
So I'm going to be, I want to know, where do you want to start? You
well,
are a singer. Are you a songwriter
yes, I'm
too?
a songwriter and a singer, yeah. Well, if you're talking about when I was just a little tyke, everyone dreamt about growing up and being a rock star. I mean, it was just sort of a normal thing to do. And all my friends had what I'm going to quote unquote, let go of the dream and started in their mind dreaming about realistic goals. I'm going corporate, or I'm going this
What were
way.
those? Okay, so the realistic goals is to give up on your dream.
Yeah, it was to
on your
give up
dream.
on the dream, and I just didn't give up on it. I just did not want to give up on it. I did detour a little bit. I have a degree in psychology. So right after high school, I went and got this degree, and just a bachelor's. So I can't claim that I'm a psychologist.
But you got a degree.
But I got a degree.
Oh, great. Well,
And
that's
my-
going to help you out dealing
Well,
with the,
and it
with the-
did.
with the
I had this
industry.
great professor, and we were talking about our beliefs dictating our actions, and it was an open discussion with the class. And I remember thinking to myself, what stopped me from believing that I could do this for a living, that I could be a musician for a living? Don't get me wrong, I don't regret the degree, but because it was that particular class that just put me right back on the track of where I wanted to be.
Is that helping you also navigate with all of the pros and cons of being an influencer, a celebrity on Twitter? Because you are. I see you as one of the new generation
Thank
of
you.
influencers on Twitter.
Thank you.
Did that help you deal with the...
It does, because psychology essentially is the communication with people and understanding people, and so to be able to relate to them on a human level, or I like to keep my Twitter very kind and uplifting. I don't like to post anything negative. I mean, we all have negative things that happen in our lives, but yeah, it's been a big part of who I am and what I like to do. And so psychology is one of those degrees that can fit in anywhere, because it's just people. It's learning to understand people, and people are everywhere. So
What was your defining moment that you make that decision to move to Los Angeles?
Well, for me, I think it was a year and a half ago. I was working with a couple different bands, but I wanted to get out from behind the scenes, but I wasn't really sure of how to do it. And so at first I was like, we're just going to wing this and see what happens. So I did a cover and I put it out online, and it was, I don't know if you know who Bob Leone is, but he was Lady Gaga's manager and Lana Del Rey, but he found it. He found the cover, and he said, come to LA with me. I know this great producer, Bob Cottarella. I think you have something here. And so I started an EP, and then, which is being mixed right now. And anyway, so it just sort of got the ball rolling for me to do my own thing individually. And anyways, I already had a fire lit underneath me, but this just ignited it. And I was like, that's it. I'm going to... But I was living in Tulsa at the time. So every time I had to come here, I had to fly all the time. And it just got... It was just a pain, really, just to fly to Tulsa to LA. But all of my musical connections were here. And then I was just thinking one day. I was just sitting there. I could tell you what I was doing. I was folding a pair of my socks, and I'm like, what am I doing in Tulsa? Because if I really want to make it, I'm going to have to be where the scene is, where, the social media presence was great, and it was there, and I built that, and that was really good. And I built it fast, because I haven't even been on Twitter for a year, so it kind of exploded for me, which is wonderful and great, but there has to be more than just social media presence. And so if I knew that if I came here, but I think the connections, the networking would have just exploded a little bit faster. And it has. I've already met some great musicians here and other producers and just people who just work in the industry in general.
So you're able to mix the local networking in Los Angeles along with your social media networking. Right. So that's more of global. It's the strategy, because I'm trying to think, because, I connect completely with what you did of moving to Los Angeles. I didn't have the incentive that you did, because your incentive was that somebody heard your music and said, come over to LA and I'll hook you up with these producers. And mine was completely different. Mine was, I came to LA with basically Frankie Benelli. He left a little bit at a different time, but we were supposed to meet here. Frankie Benelli, the drummer from Quiet Riot. We were playing in the Midwest. We were not getting anywhere. And also Bob Martlett, who turned out to be a producer later on. He's a very successful producer now. And we all came. We had nothing. We had no promises of anything.
Well, neither do I. That's how I came here. Yeah, I get that.
Yeah. But so I'm trying to, like, I see the reference, the similarities of what us getting here, you and me, at a different time, same place, but a different time in the industry, in Los Angeles, and even, we didn't have the traffic back in the 70s like we have now. So a lot of times you have to make a decision where to be, where to go, at what time. Right. Depending on the time of day. So that kind of like minimizes a little bit. So back in the day, you could have like 3 or 4 meetings in one day. Now it's like one meeting. You're either going to be late or early, so you might as well be early.
You have 5 miles to go, and it's going to take you an hour to get there.
Yeah, exactly. So it's a whole different but you being able to use social media to enhance what you're doing. Now, when you mention networking locally, where do you network in Los Angeles?
You know what? The great thing about networking is that a bar. Find a bar where someone might be there. I didn't even know this, actually. Stewart's over there. Him and I decided, and with another friend of ours, we were going to go to Residuals just to have a drink. And turns out, and I had no idea, but this was a kind of a celebrity hangout, and so there were like a lot of musicians were coming in there and actors were coming in there, and I thought, and so I met a lot of people this way, and so I met some good friends this way, and I thought, so networking, I think the important thing, if anybody is looking to be a musician or whatever it is that they're doing, it can't just be about, I want to be this and I want to use it. I think it's good to create an actual bond, an actual friendship. People want to work with someone that they trust, someone that they like, someone, you know what I mean? That
trust, number one factor for success.
Right.
You must be trusted, which is the reason why I was able to join Ozzy, because Randy trusted me, and Ozzy and Sharon trusted Randy, because they only had like 10 days to get ready to go on tour with the Blizzard of Oz. So it was like, who do we trust? And Randy said, I know the guy. Yeah. And that's because I played with him in Quiet Riot before he joined Ozzy.
And it's such a big thing. So you're networking, and if you're making friends, it has to be genuine. You can't just sit there and like, I want to use this person to get to the next step. I think it's kind of a really rude way to look at it. But so your friendship has to be genuine, and it has to come from the heart. But I knew if I was going to be able to build these kinds of relationships, I couldn't be in Tulsa. Mm-hmm. I had to be here. So, but I've been really lucky to meet some great people and which I'm honored to call friends.
You know, it's interesting because when I arrived in LA, the places that all the musicians networked at was a place called the Rainbow.
Yeah,
Bar and Grill,
Rainbow,
which is, we used to have the Strip, and most of the record companies were based out of that area. So a lot of the executives, especially artist relations people, the ones who were like on the streets finding musicians,
right.
The future of the industry, they will hang out at the Rainbow,
right,
and they will check you out,
right,
and again, it was that matter of trust. If they will see you drunk or high, that would be stay away from this guy,
right?
Because one of the things that I learned when I arrived in LA and I started hanging out at the Rainbow, I would see my heroes. My heroes who would just happen to be coming from Europe or England or even the States, hanging out at the Rainbow. But I guess since they already made it, they felt a little bit more comfortable about their careers, so they would get high, and they would be like drunk, doing blow, doing all this stuff, and it was like, ooh.
Right.
This is not going to end really good. This is pretty bad. I came from Miami.
Yeah.
My thought was if I wanted to do cocaine and drink, I would have just stayed in Miami.
Yeah,
I was already there. We had the best stuff coming in through Miami. So no, I came to Los Angeles because I wanted to be a recording artist.
Right.
And all the other stuff was going to get in the way.
Yeah.
And it did for some of these established musicians.
Well, I feel grateful that I don't do drugs. I like that. I'm actually really happy sober. I don't drink a lot. I'm a lightweight. So anyone who knows me who has drink, if I have 2 drinks, I'm like, I'm done. Yeah. Some people can handle their alcohol, and
I'm a really bad drinker. So I quit drinking 20 years ago, and it was pretty painless for me because my body really didn't need it. Yeah. So I just stopped, and that was it.
Yeah.
But getting back to the networking.
Yeah.
So have you been going back to Residuals?
I have, and I've gone to the Rainbow a few times too. Well, they just had their that birthday party, so I wanted to see Rough Cut and the Faster Pussycats. They were playing there too. So
at Residuals?
No, at the Rainbow.
Oh, at the Rainbow. Yeah. No, I was asking about Residuals because one of the things that since you mentioned that, and my generation, there was a certain, like for better or for worse, every time that we would look for a musician to join us or us join, a certain other musicians, was the image.
Right.
It was very image centric.
Right.
Something that it had its good things and it had its bad things about it. Because I think music, it doesn't matter what you look like.
Yeah.
If you're a talented artist, you should be able to.
But unfortunately, that's not always the case, though.
It is now more than it was back in the 70s, and especially the 80s.
Right.
The 80s became the MTV generation, and if you didn't have that easy on the eyes look, you weren't gonna get signed, and so you had to work very hard to look, presentable, especially image ready for MTV.
Right.
Now. Because the internet is also very image,
right?
But the image runs from heavily tattooed to just being clean cut. It runs the gamut, and I think everybody's being accepted, for who they are now because they're being manufactured by the industry,
right?
Put in a box like a cereal box in a in a grocery store, So I can see you because you're very active with the visual aspect of social media,
right?
And I can and to me what you're doing is pretty much like the triple threats that came out in the 80s, like Madonna.
Well, thank you.
She was an actress, she was a songwriter, singer. So you bring those qualities, but in a modern, modern way. Then is hanging out at a place called Residuals, which is mainly actors.
Well, everybody can go there. I mean, it's not.
I know. I used to go there. No, but what I'm saying is this opening up opportunities for maybe adding acting to your
You
resume?
know what? I thought about it. I used to do, which is not quite acting, but radio commercials. And
Voiceovers.
Yeah. So and I loved it. I really did. So I want to be open. I do have a main goal, and my eye is not off the prize. But I think people need to be smart enough to at least just be open to the